Hey folks, welcome. This is the interview and a little different setting for me today. Don't have my normal background. I'm Peter Catalano. Catalano Financial is my business, and I get to interview today Megan Anderson. Now, you have seen Megan before, and Megan works for a company called Renovo, which does appliances here in the Houston market, and they're absolutely fantastic, amazing people. Megan is the bomb. Well, what you may not know is Megan is also a fitness coach. And as luck would have it, it is December 31st on 2021. And Megan and I were able to get together over this Zoom call and we're sitting here chatting. I'm like, hey, Megan, why don't you tell us more about your fitness work? So today's interview, or this segment interview, will be about fitness and how Megan helps. So, Megan, thank you for joining me again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh gosh, more than my pleasure. I'm sitting here, we got a different setup. Normally I've got the camera up high, eye level, focused on my face. Today I'm using the phone and I'm noticing that, well, I probably shouldn't say it, but I will, but I kind of look like I have man boobs here and I'm a little bit like, whoa, wait a minute. I guess I could adjust the camera, but no, this is kind of an eye opener. So you've been doing fitness for how long, Megan?
I became a personal trainer in 2017. So right after I had my one and only little girl, I decided to become a personal trainer, as well as I still have my full-time job at Renova Appliance Center, but I wanted to do something a little bit different.
Really cool. So now, we were just chatting a few minutes ago, and this is, I think, very apropos to going into the new year. Now, everybody's got the New Year's resolutions: lose weight, get healthy. The gyms are packed for about a month and a half, and then they go dark. So let's talk a little bit about your style. The first thing that comes to my mind. There's a lot we can chat about. First thing that comes to my mind: food. I'm Sicilian. I love my homemade ravioli and briolati and cannoli, and we fry the shells, and I make the ravioli, and I make my own pasta. And you know what? Tomorrow's the first. My wife comes from a Cajun background. You can bet what we're frying tomorrow: the fish, the okra, the potatoes. You know, how do you manage food intake? How do you manage the diet with your clientele? Because that seems to be, at least for me, one of the most difficult areas to deal with.
It is by far the most underrated when it comes to people trying to really get a healthy lifestyle. So my approach is nothing is off limits and nothing is restricted. I just work with
Woohoo!
your
Sorry.
portion sizes. I work with your
Uh-oh.
portion sizes and really help you to understand what macronutrients you're eating and what it can take to really get your body internally in the best shape.
Macronutrients? Sorry,
Yes.
that's over. What's a macronutrient?
So there's three macronutrients, and then there's a ton of micronutrients. But macronutrients are going to be your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats. Just those three things, and then your total calories overall will encompass those three macronutrients.
So you will sit with a client and go through those three. Now, do you dig into the micros as well, out of curiosity?
Generally, I don't, because normally your micronutrients are taken care of if you're eating well enough in your macronutrients.
So let's talk as I have the belief, and I could be wrong, but I have the belief, it's a simple combination, right? Diet and exercise, right? And diet, I think, is there's a reason why people say that word first. I'm assuming that's a biggest one of the biggest issues. I'm making that up. And when I look at diet, I look at those three, and the first thing that comes to mind is the word sugar. I'm 54 years old. I was raised on Twinkies and Ho-Hos. I mean, come on here, folks. You can't go anywhere without having sugar someplace. So how do you address sugar? Is it a big issue? Is it something we should moderate? Where's sugar fit in this whole scheme of diet?
Well, you've heard it everywhere, everything in moderation, and that's no different with sugar as well. Sugar in abundance is bad. Anything in abundance is bad. You can work out too much and you can drink too much water and you can have too much fatty foods. You can eat too much red meat. You can do anything in excess. So it's about managing and getting your excess sugar under control, maybe focusing on having healthier versions of natural sugars, such as, fruits and things like that. But there's nothing wrong with sugar. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. I'm sorry. You're probably going to have comment section blow up. There's nothing wrong with sugar.
Whew, good. You heard it here first, folks. No, nothing wrong with sugar. But I notice it, and obviously I see it in my kids. I got my 4 kids, and I've got, when they're loaded up on sugar. Christmas was just here, sugar galore in the house. I can see it in them. I don't recognize it as much in me as an adult, but I feel it. So, how do can you give us, some tidbits? How can we manage this better?
So, going into the new year, what I tell people a good way to start, and especially coming from the non restrictive mindset, is start with 3 plates of food and 2 snacks a day. So, anything you can fit on the plate. Now, don't mound the plate over like buffet style, but 3 plates of food and 2 snacks. A snack is something you can fit in your hand. And start with that, and then generally work on the habit of changing your portion sizes.
So, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're starting us what seems to be more realistic. You're starting us on a portioning. Um, y- I think one of the I'm looking for my words here. I think one of the fears in hiring somebody like you, to be honest with you, and near to be honest with you, just like me as an insurance agent, there's a ton of you, there's a ton of me out there, right? What differentiates us? But you're saying something that I don't.
I think I lost you.
And I
There you go.
Oh, am I back? Okay, good. So wheatgrass is a new best friend, and I hear this from all these, these gurus online, and then I'm hearing from you. But wait a minute, you can just portion it, which is a unique starting point. So you may get a lot of hate for the sugar comment, but the reality is it is a portion thing. I don't want to stop my sugar. I admit it. I'm addicted. You know. So saying to me, "Well, Pete, you got to cut out sugar." Come on. So how do you what happens with you over time? What what do people typically experience as they continue to work with you?
Well, and I tell everybody up front that my approach is not quick. My weight loss plans and to get you on the healthy track is not a quick thing. You didn't get to where you are overnight. Your results aren't going to happen overnight. So it's a slow
Mm.
and steady go, but I teach you the things that you need to know over time so that one day you're not going to need me, and that's the key.
Well, but for to sustain your business, you're going to want to be around and have me hire you over time here. So can we really get to a point where I'm not going to need you, or my health is going to be in that position, or I'm going to be well trained,
Yes.
disciplined, whatever the right words?
Yes, because it's about mindset, and everything you do is about mindset. But when you start to learn the healthier habits, and again, coming straight from out of a restrictive mindset, if you do elimination or things like that, you can cause yourself to binge later on. And that's a whole other topic. Um, but
Mm.
teaching you the habits that you can do yourself over time. Let's say you get to your goal, and then 5 months down the road, you see, I'm up 5 or 10 pounds. You'll know what to do to get that weight back off. And you could come back and hire me, but you don't have to.
Interesting. So you're a unique advisor here. I'm loving this conversation. Hope everybody watches this and understands that it's not about the ongoing. Well, it's about the ongoing, but it's about training yourself how to do it yourself, and that seems to be where you're coming from, which is unique. Megan, that's awesome. So let's jump over because I think people would have a lot of questions. Actually, before we jump over, let's talk about what I see out in the marketplace. Analyze your blood, analyze your DNA, find out what you need to eat. Years ago, I admit, there was a book, Eat Right for Your Blood Type. I thought it was a great concept. True or not, real or not, I don't know. Do you address that? Do you go into well, what do you think of that idea? What do you think of the marketplace having this kind of analysis?
I think the marketplace is very inundated with a lot of information that can be misguiding to people who are just starting out. And so when you're just starting and when you get to a point where you're fed up and you want to start a health or fitness journey, you go to Google and you search and you're just inundated with all kinds of information. And I make it very simple because it's just eating healthier portions, healthier foods, incorporating some of those healthy foods in there, and moving your body. Just those two things. That's it. And if there are special needs that doctors diagnose you with, things like that, we can absolutely talk about those things. But for the majority, it's just eating right and moving your body. Those two things.
So let's the great segue here. I was going to go there a second ago, but great segue here. Moving the body. Okay, I'm sitting here in the foyer chair. All right, and I managed to make it from my office up here. Woohoo! All right. When you say moving the body, where does somebody start?
I always start my clients, and before they even get started on a workout plan, I tell them I want you to walk 3 times a week for 30 minutes. And if you can do that consistently for the first 2 weeks, then we up it to 4. And once you can do that consistently, and I get a whole month in, then we will talk about actually going to the gym, lifting weights, or something like that. But walking is the most underrated workout.
So when I walk, I mean, I wear cowboy boots. And when I walk, I don't know if I'm strolling down the street or walking. So when you say 30 minutes of walking, do you mean get the walker shoes out and pump the arms and head down the road, or do you mean brisk walk? Describe it.
It depends on where you're starting. So because everyone is different, and that's why my business is called Lifestride, no two strides of life are the same. So if you've got someone who has never worked out before, who has been on the couch watching Netflix for the past 2 years and has not done anything, just going on a gradual leisure walk is fine. If you have been able to keep a consistent walking up the pace a little bit, go for a jog, do those type of things.
Now, we have a lot of fitness accessories, and I love that you're starting here. 1 month of up to 4 days of walking for 30 minutes a day sounds doable, sounds actually easy, not intimidating. Now, we have all these other gears. My bed monitors my heart rate at night now, right? I use Sleep Number. I love the beds, right? And the watches, right? We have most everybody's got some sort of a right, and Apple now, I guess the newest watch I just bought for my wife monitors the stars in alignment. I don't know. Anyways, how important is it that we monitor this? Do we need to track these numbers, report to you, or is it really just as simple as Pete, get out and walk for for 30 minutes and then we'll move on?
It, to be honest, to start,
Yeah.
just moving your body, just getting up and doing what needs to be done. Because the problem is that we'll set outlandish goals. January 1st, everybody sets these New Year's resolutions, and they're like, I'm going to eliminate sugar from my diet for 30 days. I'm going to hit the gym 4 times a week, and I'm going to be in there for an hour. And by week 2, they're exhausted. They have exhausted themselves and they give up. And the whole idea is to not create a whole new year, new you type of person. Take who you are and build upon and improve yourself over time. And by doing it in small increments.
Interesting. So I love your approach here, Megan. This is a great start, a great introduction for people who probably January 1, or in my case, January 2, are looking to start something. If people want to hire you, can they hire you virtually, or does it have to be in person? How does that work?
All of my coaching is virtual. So I have an app, and where I write your workouts, I send them to you. You get a new workout every 4 to 6 weeks. And then you check in with me once a week, either on Zoom or on a phone call, and we just do a check-in that way. Or if you don't want to do that, you can check in with me through email. But we monitor your weight and and what you're eating, and that's about it.
Interesting. This is fascinating. Now, how do people get a hold of you for this business?
Okay, so you can find me anywhere at Lifestride Fitness Training, and my email is lifestridefitnesstraining@gmail.com.
Lifestride Fitness Training at gmail.com, or look online, Lifestride Fitness Training, and we can find you engaged. Well, listen, Megan, thank you so much again for spending this time with me. This is such a perfect timing. I know we decided to do this last minute, and I think this is probably one of the most informational and effective videos out there. I hope everybody watches it and shares it with all their friends today. So, Megan,
Thank
I
you.
thank you for your time. Oh, my pleasure.